Hello, welcome to Mueller's Super Fast Corner. I'm Kevin Mueller and I'm talking to you from MC3, Mini Car Club of Canada. Today we're going to talk about how to make sure that your car is running optimal. All right, a lot of beginners, when they first come to Mini Z, they think that a little bit of play like you would have in a normal 110 scale car is fine, but that's unfortunately not the case. With mini cars, the smaller the car is, the less play that you can afford. Any play that you have in your car anywhere will cause it to either turn sporadically or not be consistent. And as we know in Mini Z, consistency is very important if you're going to win races. So some of the places where play will happen is first of all in the rear axle. A lot of people don't tighten this nut here too tightly or too closely to the bearing and allow the differential to sway back and forth. So you want to make sure that it's tight, the differential can't slide in and out of the bearings, but you also don't want it too tight that it's binding, so that one of the wheels, most likely this wheel, turns harder than the outside wheel here. Okay. Another area where play usually happens is in somebody's disc damper. So they haven't tightened the bolts correctly, or the post is worn out, or the discs are worn out. So if you're having old parts, you want to make sure that these parts have been replaced, the post has been replaced, and the discs themselves have been replaced to reduce any play. Also, this post right here where we mount the rear shock, that tends to have some play sometimes, especially if it's not tight through the screw on the bottom. So make sure that's nice and tight. You have very little play in the top part of your shock mount. The front end. When you're building the front end, you can get a lot of play in the arms, and the top and in the bottom, as well as in your servo saver. So you want to make sure that you shim all of these parts, making sure that they're not binding, meaning that they would have a lot of friction and wouldn't come drop down, but you also don't want them to have a lot of play where there's a lot of movement. Same thing with your servo saver. Over time, the servo saver wears out, and if there's a lot of play in the tow bar and servo saver, then this is going to give you sloppy steering. So make sure that you check your servo saver from time to time. Either you can replace it, or you can put a shim behind the spring to tighten up the spring and tighten up the servo saver again to improve the slop or take out the slop from the front end of the car.
MC3